welcome. Thank you for having me. Tobias Münstermann, I'm finance advisor for the European Investment Bank. I work for the corporate finance advisory services. And today I'm here to talk about how we support quantum investments in Europe. So first I'm going to present a bit the bank, the European Investment Bank Group. This is the European Investment Bank and the European Investment Fund. And then I'm going to talk about a bit of the different products that we offer and the different services, the advice we can give. And basically, there are two key messages I would like that everyone retains is that, first of all, we provide free financial advice to startups, companies, to prepare them with basically investor material. And we organize ecosystem development activities to support the sector in general. So, the European Investment Bank is the world's largest multilateral financial institution, and it's based out of the two, so the European Investment Bank and the European Investment Fund, and it's established in 1958. The bank is one of the EU institutions, it's owned by the EU member states, and we are around 4,000 people in Luxembourg. A difference to another commercial banks is that we have a project directorate with technical and economic experts, so which can do basically the due diligence, technical due diligence in-house, and for which we have I think around 400 staff members really focusing on this. So last year we provided 88 billion euros of financing. And a large part of this is related to climate financing. I think around 60% is targeted for basically green financing, and I think around 10% of the 88 billion is for outside of the EU. So our largest share is 90% is focusing on EU member states. So why do we focus on supporting quantum? Basically, we did a study which we published last year, which is available on our website, focusing on the quantum sector, on the quantum technologies, on how Europe is standing globally, what are the key issues, where are basically the startups, and what stage of development. And some of the outcomes I would like to present here, which was that, so despite having a quarter of all quantum companies, quantum technology companies in Europe, Europe has only attracted 5% of the global financing. So, and also while Europe has an excellent academic basis with a lot of very good universities focusing on quantum and good available or relatively good available early stage financing, later stage growth financing is substantially lacking, specifically in Europe. Okay, I realize that the quality is not so good, so you don't see the figures so well. But basically, so maybe it's also a bit misleading. So Europe, the European circle, the 5% of the financing is here in the middle, is really the lower part, was below the UK. And you see how it compares to China and the US, and actually Canada. Even Canada has attracted more financing than the whole European Union. On the right-hand side, you see a bit the stages of the startups going basically to the normal development process. So you have the founding, you have some research, you have the spin-offs, then you attract the first Series A, Series B financing rounds, you do some development, do some prototyping, before you then come to the professionalism and the growth stage of the companies, which is typically for every sector. And you can see that in Europe, at the beginning, we are very strong. But with the growth of the companies, it's lacking more and more of companies because companies are attracted by financing, which is just not relatively easily available in Europe, and mostly often coming from US investors. So what the outcome of the study was that we have various ways where we can improve. We have various ways, of course, which we are already doing, but we need to focus on specific aspects of it. So here we had 4 outcomes basically. We had to strengthen the technology transfer I don't want to go into all the details. The study is relative. I'm sorry for that. I'm not pressing anything. Could you go back? Okay, thank you. So the details are available on the website. There's a couple of different topics which needs to be improved, and so that's why we also focus with our products to support the sector further, and that's why we have. Okay, thank you. That's why we focus to bring also quantum into our different products which we already have available. So this is a bit the products which we offer for startups and mid-caps. Okay, we also offer, of course, corporate finance, project finance, which are maybe less relevant for the quantum sector. So I just want to present a bit the products we have available for the quantum sector for early stage companies. So on the left-hand side, you see the European Investment Fund. The European Investment Fund is a fund of funds, so it invests in funds that then provide equity investments to startups. So that's why it's called for us indirect equity. And in the middle, we have the European Investment Bank. But I think so at the beginning of a startup, you would be the first at the beginning. You usually need grants. Okay, so grants and direct equity is coming from the European Commission through the European Innovation Council and directly going to innovative startups with ticket sizes under 15 million. This is usually the first start when a startup grows. Then, so I'm on the right-hand side here. Then the next step would be then to come to us to provide some financial advisory. So this is where I work now in the corporate finance advisory in the unit that focuses on deep tech, on quantum, on life science, on space, and where we then talk to the companies and provide some additional advice and help them to really prepare their documentation to then apply for the next step, the basically venture debt growth capital financing. So here in the middle, this will be our venture debt product, which is also targeted for innovative startups and mid-caps investing in the EU member states. We have ticket sizes from 5 to 50 million, and I provide a couple of more details about this on the next slide. And then we also developed a next product, which was a bit missing, which is also highlighted in the study, that there's no growth financing available. This would be this scale-up debt with larger ticket sizes, usually when a startup is at a stage where the risk is a bit more managed. So now we come to the products in my unit that we offer. So we provide innovative EU companies with free financial advice on the bankability and financing of their business plans and can act then as an entry point for European Investment Bank due diligence for the venture debt products that we offer. So what does it mean? What is free financial advice? What is included? We have the review of the investor material. We provide advice on business plan, on financial model, on this strategy. We provide advice to create efficient pitch deck, investor memorandum, the typical documents that you need to provide to then ask for financing. We also have a newly developed product, which is an independent valuation of the companies, which we offer on selected cases. We then also provide advice on the bankability and different financing options that are in the market, which can be very confusing, and the eligibility assessment for the next step to provide then EIB financing is also included. Apart from that, we also provide ecosystem development activities, which is invitation to join thematic financing labs. We have the quantum financing lab, which we are also our unit. Maybe as a background, our unit is relatively new. So for the moment, we organize 2 quantum finance labs, which is a closed community basically with investors, with startups, and the purpose is basically to connect them to EU institutions, to connect them to other stakeholders, and have small roundtables to also think about what else can we do to support the sector. So we had the first one in October last year, and the second one we had yesterday evening. And so also part of this ecosystem development is really to bring all the stakeholders together, which we also do with our LinkedIn group, where we also try to update the companies, the investors, the startups on our latest financial products and other market trends. And also we provide, so there's consultation on new financing schemes, which are constantly developing. The many different players, we have the EIF, we have the Commission, we have the bank, and it's basically to provide a good overview about this. So what are the eligibility criteria to provide these EIB advisory services? It's basically your company should be active in the quantum sector. You plan to raise at least, or to invest at least 10 million euros over the next couple of years. So to scale up your company's business plan, this can be R&D activities, so it can be really researchers or CapEx investments at the later stage. Other criteria are that you have a sustainable business model, professional management team, adequate corporate governance, and ideally you have already raised seed or Series A equity, and then your company needs more financing, where we then come in and try to help you to raise this. Required documents, what we require usually is, it's not exclusively, but a couple of these documents you should already have prepared. So business plan, financial model, the strategy, bylaws, capitalization table, and if you have financial statements. So these are a bit the details of the standard venture debt products, which I think is the most interesting of the products that we offer for quantum companies at this stage. So first of all, we don't crowd out other investors, so we can only finance 50% of your investment plan, so you always need to bring in other investors for the remaining financing. What we do offer is, so we offer a bullet structure, which is something not all investors do. The maturity we offer is up to 5 years for each tranche, and we split usually the financing into 2 to 3 tranches. So the advantage is that we can come in with a larger ticket and we say, okay, we disperse the first ticket under relatively easy conditions, and then for the next tickets will be dispersed once you reach your milestones. So at least you know that if you reach your milestones, you get it. You get the larger ticket, which is also something a lot of startups are looking for. And so availability periods of 3 years, it's also very good conditions. So these are a couple of the activities we have done so far. So these are also, more information is available on our website. We advised IQM in the preparation of their financial application. Then afterwards, IQM then received a 35 million euros loan from us for basically the development and commercialization of their quantum processors. There was a loan for R&D and CapEx, basically for expanding their facilities and accelerating their material research, and to the, of course, development of their quantum computers. Another example is Cypher, which is not immediately quantum computing or quantum technologies. Cypher also received financial advice from us to then be moved to the second stage of the venture debt product. They received a 25 million convertible debt from us, basically to develop the energy efficient HPC microprocessor in Europe that will work with any third-party accelerator and with, of course, high security and safety requirements. Just some examples of the ecosystem development activities that we provide. So I mentioned already the finance labs and the studies we did. And basically we are looking even for more activities around this to basically support the sector. To get involved, these are just our contact information. So I recently joined the unit and I'm responsible now for quantum, so I would be the contact person if you want to get some advice, some other help. And and my head of unit, Catherine Bender, who's also here, would be the second one. But this is the general email address, so you can contact us to receive more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobias. We do have time for questions, so please stay up here. And Catherine, if I may ask, would you join us on stage? Let's welcome Catherine to the stage as well. And come over here a bit. Okay, so a question, what about companies in the United Kingdom, the UK? Are they also eligible for your EIB programs?
So we are supporting companies that invest in the EU. So if these companies are going to invest in the EU, then yes.
Okay. So for example, what if there is a company in the UK or in the United States, the USA, if they would open an office in an EU country or an entity in the EU, could that entity apply for such grants or loans?
So if that entity has investments in the EU, so the research and development is done in the EU, or they build facilities, clean room in the EU, then yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
No, indeed. Indeed, to complement, we are a bank of projects, so we are looking at the project. So as long, indeed, as a project is in the EU, we are allowed to invest. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. So here's a question a little bit maybe more philosophical. Is the lack of growth financing in Europe a direct consequence of lack of big exit opportunities? Sometimes I hear this. Investment for startups, maybe not for later stage. What can the EIB do to solve this problem? Now, I've already seen you doing quite a lot, but is there more you can do or thinking about or more the community could do?
So basically this is, this is what we are discussing in the quantum finance labs, basically. So what else could we do? What can we offer? Are there other kind of risk mitigating schemes to go there and provide more financing?
Yes, I think the exit strategy is one of many of the issues to growth. Yesterday at the Quantum Finance Lab that we hold, we hear different gaps, the lack of lead investor, the maybe lack of partnership with large corporates. So I think indeed, when we talk about growth financing, I think we are trying now to bring together all the different major gaps identified by the companies, and we will organize follow-up workshops, each one dedicated to one of the gaps identified.